Hi there guys, I have a brand new video for you today, so let's just get right into it. So just starting on your feet and standing, and just get your helium balloons on your ears, so lengthening through your spine right up into the back of your neck. So allow your chin to tuck in. Let's take a breath in, lift your shoulders and your ribs up. Keep your ribs lifted, and then as you exhale, melt your shoulders and lengthen through your spine. Just get your shoulder blades elastoplast into place, turning your palms forwards. Keep them there. Relax your arms in at your sides. Make sure your weight is centered across the four corners of each foot. And soft at the knees, and just have a little check that your pelvis is in neutral, a little tip back and forth until you find your neutral position. So all we're going to do here is loosen off your shoulders and neck. Let's start with our shoulder rolls. So starting with your left arm, left shoulder, we're going to bring that shoulder forwards and up, and then back and down. So keep that going, letting your arm just relax nice and loose at your side, elbows soft. So all of the movement is coming from here, your shoulder. Rest of your body is still. You still have your helium balloons on. And if you imagine that you're taking your shoulder around a clock face, so your goal is to hit all of the numbers. So you want to take it slowly and just really focus on every part of that movement. So as your shoulder comes up towards your ear, you can imagine you're at 12 o'clock, and in your head you can go 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4, 5, 6 o'clock, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and back to 12. So just in your head, you can just try and hit all of those numbers. Nice steady breaths. Relax your hand and your fingers. Notice any areas that feel tight, or you might have some black spots where your shoulder kind of jumps and misses a few numbers. So just notice where they are, and we're going to circle through until you feel you can hit most of the numbers. Okay, so my shoulder's just beginning to loosen off now. I'm just getting a bit more of a smoother round circle. Okay, just a couple more this way, and if you need to pause the video and do a few more, then do that, because we're all different. We've all got tighter shoulders, feel a bit different. Okay, good, we're going to change direction. So bringing your shoulder back, up, forwards and down. So again, imagine that clock face. You want to try and hit all of the numbers. And again, you can bring it up to your ear, imagine 12 o'clock, and then working your way around. Just seeing the numbers in your head just gives you a bit of a visualization to work against. Let your arm completely relax so it's nice and floppy at your side. Now just check your balloons are still tied onto your ears. Your neck is still lengthening through. And notice how it feels to circle round in this direction. It might feel different, it might feel tighter, or maybe a bit easier. Okay, just a couple more here. Again, if you need to pause the video and do a few more, then do that. The aim is to keep going until you feel you're getting more, most of the numbers, and everything just feels a lot more fluid and open. Okay, give that shoulder a little shake off. Just take a moment here to pause, compare your shoulders now. So all of a sudden, your right side might feel a lot tighter, and this side feels open, looser, a little bit lower down. In fact, it might even visually look lower down. I can see my shoulder is a lot lower down on this side now compared to this side. Okay, so lengthening through, get your balloons back on, other side. Bringing that shoulder forwards and up, back and down. Oh, this side feels really tight all of a sudden. Okay, letting your arm just hang heavy at your side. And keep this side still now. So this shoulder might want to start getting involved because we've just worked it off. But try and keep the rest of your body completely still so that you're just moving from these muscles. Okay, just have a little check that you're still soft through the knees and your weight is still centered across the four corners of each foot. Good, just let your helium balloons lengthen through your neck. Just saying the numbers in my head to myself. So you start at 12 o'clock up here and then just work your way around that clock. Okay, so just a couple more. Feel free to pause and do a few more if you need to. Okay, change in direction when you're ready. Bring your shoulder back, up, forwards and down. And just check you're relaxing your hand and your fingers. Have a little lengthen with your helium balloons. Now keep your chin tucked in and your neck lengthening, especially as your shoulder comes forwards and down. You might feel your neck kind of pulling forwards a little bit, so try and keep your neck back, chin tucked in, and just get your shoulder muscles to really stretch forwards at that point. Okay, and just notice if your circle's beginning to feel a bit smoother or a bit bigger, or maybe you have a few less clunks going on. Just a couple more. Good, last one. Well done. Give your shoulders a little shake off. Okay, take a moment to pause. Notice how you feel nice and even and open and free on both sides, nice and equally. We'll do a few neck stretches now, so lengthen through, helium balloons, get them on, tuck in your chin, okay, and then we're going to keep your chin tucked in. Imagine a brick wall that you're pushing your head up against behind you. Keep your head in contact with the wall and then draw your chin to your collarbone. Good, so don't take your head forwards off the wall, keep your head pushed against it. Allow your chin to slide down and then lifting back up to the middle. So little chin nods just like that, so tucking your chin in and then sliding it down. Allow the back of your neck to lengthen up that brick wall behind you. Okay, take it nice and gently, just a couple. You don't need to take it too far down to feel a stretch right into your back, and depending on how things are feeling, you might feel this quite low into your back muscles. I actually feel it right down near my lower back. So what we're doing here is just lifting your neck out of any compression. We're allowing your upper spine to lengthen out. And just getting that stretch right down into your postural muscles. So relaxing your shoulders. Nice steady breaths. Your knees are soft. And just see if you can lengthen the back of your neck a little bit further up that wall as your chin tucks in, but you're still pressing your head into the wall. And that's the key with this one. So you're just almost trying to give yourself a double chin face, really squishing your chin down. So just a couple more. Okay, we're going to keep your chin tucked in on the next one. And then begin to roll your chin along your collarbone up to one shoulder. So now you're fully turned over to one side. Hold that stretch, relax your shoulders away from your ears. Feeling that stretch right down the side of your neck muscles there. And then let your head drop down, let the weight of your head come forwards a little now. Trace along your collarbone with your chin and let your head roll up to the other side. Again, hold it here, let your shoulder melt down, and just do a few. So we're allowing the weight of your head to come forwards to stretch a bit more across your upper back and around the tops of your shoulders where we tend to hold a lot of tension. And keep your knees soft, your weight centered. So you're still lengthening through your spine, through the rest of your spine. We'll do one more to each side. Good, bringing it back to the middle. Have a little shake off through the arms and legs. We're going to take it straight down onto your back now. Okay, so taking it down onto your mat and bend your legs in when you're ready. So bent legs. Make sure you have a little cushion if you use one, and just have it positioned at the base of your head so you can tuck in your chin here, let your neck lengthen through. Okay, so breathe in deeply, and as you exhale, try and relax your body into the mat. So if you were lying on some nice hot sand, let your body melt into the sand and leave an imprint. Okay, and each time you exhale, try and soften the back of your rib cage a bit more into that sand. So get those last few bottom ribs to leave an imprint and to melt heavily into that sand, flattening through your upper body. Allow your chest muscles to open and relax. Turn your palms up, slide your arms out enough to flatten out your shoulder blades so they feel weighted in that sand. Continuing to take those nice deep breaths. On your next exhale, relax the back of your hips. Let your hips feel weighted in the sand, and just check that you feel even across both sides. So you're not tipping into one hip more than the other. Your right hip feels just as heavy as your left hip. Okay, so still relaxing into your muscles. Just have a little check. Your feet and knees feel only hip width apart. Your toes are not turning out. Your feet are parallel. And just check you have as much weight going through your toes as you have through your heels. So get your feet positioned so your legs and feet are comfortable. And then get your pelvis into neutral. So tipping back and forth. Pressing your lower spine down into the sand and then lifting and arching away a little. And just make that movement smaller and smaller until you settle in the middle. Okay, so you wouldn't be leaving an imprint with your lower spine in the sand. We're just keeping that natural curve that you have there. So now as you breathe, begin to direct your breath sideways into your body, so your lateral breathing. And just let your muscles soften as you exhale. So as you inhale, feel each side of your rib cage expand away from each other. And let your ribs fall on your exhale. Allow your muscles to soften. So keep that going. Just beginning to direct your breath. So it's just your ribs that are rising and falling with your breath, but your abdomen is still. So we're not breathing into your belly. We're taking that breath and we're opening into your rib cage with your breath instead. So now as you exhale, try to draw each side of your rib cage in together. So feeling your upper core muscles tighten across your upper body. Take a few breaths, ribs expanding out on your inhale, and allow your ribs to draw in on your exhale. Okay, just a few more breaths, working and warming through your upper core muscles. Let's soften into your shoulders, your neck, your jaw. So adding on to this now, inhale when you're ready, let your ribs open out. And as you exhale, tighten your ribs in and tighten your abdominals. Draw your belly button down to your spine. Good. Take a few breaths. So we're adding in your tummy muscles now. So draw your ribs in and down and flatten down on your belly button. So just drawing your navel to your spine, but you're not losing that bit of a space that you have at your lower back. And to finish the sequence, we'll add in the lower abdominals. So inhale when you're ready. Exhale, draw your ribs in, flatten your tummy muscles and try to pull across the front of your hip bones now as well. As if your hip bones could slide in together across your lower abdomen. So lifting your pelvic floor muscles as well. Give them an extra scoop up from the back up to the front. And we'll put that all together. So inhale when you're ready. And as you exhale, lace your corset now. So ribs, abdominals, squeeze across the front of your hip bones, lift your pelvic floor. And just lace up your corset a few times on your own. So you want to feel all your muscles wrap in and tighten towards your spine as your corset laces up. And feel your ribs open out on your inhale. So it's like you have a big cylinder of corset muscles, and that cylinder gently expands out on your inhale and then tightens inwards on your exhale. And you're just lifting up on that base of cylinder corset muscles when you lift up your pelvic floor. So everything's contracting in and your base is lifting up. Okay, so I want you to imagine you're still lying in that sand and just notice the areas of your body that would be leaving an imprint. So your head, the back of your shoulders, the back of your ribs, your arms. You would have a bit of a space at your lower spine where you're not pressing down too heavily, but the back of both hips would be sinking nice and heavily into that sand, and both feet would be leaving a little footprint. So we're going to do an exercise now to try and lighten the pressure of your feet in the sand so they're in contact but they're not pressing down too heavily and leaving an imprint. And we're going to try and let the back of your hips just sink into that sand more heavily and just lighten the pressure of your feet. So it sounds a bit strange, but I'm going to talk you through it. So you're in alignment, okay, so take a breath in to prepare. And as you exhale, lace across, ribs, abdominals, squeeze across your hip bones. Now try and lighten the pressure of your feet in the sand. So they're in contact with the mat, but they're not pressing down too heavily, so they wouldn't be leaving a footprint in that sand. They're just in contact and no more. And see if you can let your hips just sink more heavily into that sand instead. So hold it here. Keep your corset fully laced across. Keep breathing. Relaxing your shoulders. Good. Imagine that your legs are filled with feathers and they're just suspended in front of your body. They're light and floaty, but your leg muscles are not doing any work. Relax, let your feet just sink into that sand again. We're going to do that exercise again, but we're going to hold it and then add in some little foot hovers off the mat. So inhale to prepare. Exhale, lace your corset, ribs, abdominals, pull across your hips, lift your pelvic floor. Try and lighten the pressure of your feet so they're in contact but not pressing down heavily. Let your legs feel weightless, like they're filled with feathers, and sink the back of both hips really heavily into that sand. Okay, so holding this now, your corset is tightening across really tightly now. We're going to keep this feeling of weightlessness through the feet. Take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, release your corset and try and hover your right foot off the sand without pressing down any more heavily through your left foot. Inhale, exhale, release your corset. place your right foot back down on that sand without leaving a footprint. We're going to change legs. Inhale, exhale, lace across, let your left foot hover. And you want to try and keep the back of both hips still feeling evenly weighted in that sand. Inhale, exhale, lace across as you bring your left foot back down, but keeping that light pressure through both feet. So do a few on each side. Lace your corset before your foot lifts off. And then relace your corset again before you place your foot back down. So you're using your feet and the back of your hips as your feedback. That's where you want to focus. Keep both feet feeling equally light and keep both hips feeling equally heavy. Try and relax into your upper body and your shoulders. Okay, on your next move, as your foot lifts off the sand, continue to lift your leg until your knee is above your hip and your lower leg is staying relaxed. So we're taking it into a floppy leg lift, but your other foot is still maintaining that very light pressure. Once your knee is above your hip, pause and inhale. Exhale, relace your corset. Keep your lower leg floppy and relaxed and slowly begin to lower your thigh, letting your foot slowly float back down onto the sand without putting any extra pressure through that foot. Same again on the other leg. Inhale, exhale, lace across. Keep your hips feeling even as your other foot begins to lift, and continue to lift until your knee is just above your hip. Keep your foot relaxed here so your lower leg is dangling like a pom-pom from your knee. Inhale, exhale, lace across, and slowly, without your pelvis moving, let your foot float back down. So keeping that going, take it nice and slow. We're going to do one more on each leg. Oh, and relax, guys. Such a hard move. Hug your knees in towards your chest, so hold behind your thighs and just give your back a little rock from side to side. So really pressing your lower spine heavily into the sand. Scoop your tailbone under. Nice little release into your lower back. With your head still on the pillow, let your chin draw towards your collarbone. Okay, so we'll take your feet back down one at a time. Bent legs, just get your feet and knees hip width apart. Pelvis back into neutral, little tip back and forth, find your centre. We're going to focus now with the arms and your upper core muscles a bit more. We're going to bring both arms all the way up, so fingers pointing to the ceiling, palms turning in to face each other. Now your arms, straighten them out, but then just soften your elbows just a little and try and melt your shoulder blades back into the sand without your elbows bending too much when you do that. So shoulder blades flattening down, but your arms are still staying quite straight. Okay, so let your chin tuck in, take a breath in. As you exhale, let the back of your rib cage just melt heavily into that sand. We're going to hold the ribs down now. Breathing in to prepare. Exhale, lace your corset, ribs, abdominals, pull across your hips and let your arms float back behind you just a couple of inches and no more. So just until your hands are just above your eyebrows. Pause, inhale, exhale, lace your corset. Now really pull your ribs in and down. We're going to bring your arms forward slowly. Now keep your corset laced up here. We're going to continue to bring your arms down towards the mat, down at your sides. So continue to float them forwards. Inch by inch, I want you to lace up your corset tighter and tighter the closer your arms get to the mat. Just take your time, pull across your ribs, your hip bones, flatten on your abdominals. Good. Once your arms touch the floor, reset. Inhale, lift your arms up. Exhale, melt your shoulder blades down. Breathe in to prepare. Exhale, lace across. Let your arms float back a few inches, but holding your ribs down. Pause and inhale. Exhale, lace across and let your arms feel weightless. Relax your hands. Draw your ribs in and down as you bring your arms forwards. So really press in your rib cage into the mat. Lacing up your corset tighter and tighter and tighter and tighter the closer your arms get to the floor. Inch by inch. So still breathing, little sips of breath into the sides of your body. I'll let you do a few on your own, so reset again. Inhale to float your arms. Exhale, melt your shoulder blades down first. And then you can lace your corset to start your move. So shoulder blades feel weighted in that sand, and as if your arms are now filled with feathers. They're just simply floating. Okay, but all of the stability and all of the work is going on into your upper back to keep your shoulders down, and your corset is lacing across tighter and tighter the closer your arms get to the mat.